You, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I can't see you, so I'm not sure here, but I'm Tom Frank, and I'm a professor in the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department, and I'm also the Associate Dean over the at Academic Affairs. And we're very happy that you're excited about Utah State, and we're Danielle here has been here now a few years, and she knows all about our college, and is happy to answer any questions. And we're glad you could join us today. We know that going to college and starting out, it's a big step, and we know you want to come and succeed. And we're excited to have you here and have you succeed and do well. We want you to come out of the university as professionals that to be able to contribute to society, go to graduate schools, to understand and become an engineer. So hopefully that you, as you start this out, if you get questions or anything along the way as we start out, please don't hesitate because we want you to be informed. Logan's beautiful today. It's a great place. Utah State's a great campus, and the professors are fantastic here. So we look forward to having you here at Utah State. And again, welcome. And any questions you might have, please don't hesitate to ask us. And Danielle, I'll turn it back to you.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Tom's pretty humble, but he helps run the College of Engineering, and he's a great one to go to once you're on campus if you have questions or problems. He's a really good listener to all of our students, so he's a good solution maker.
Thank you. And I'm
But
going
yeah,
to log off now too.
you're good.
Thank
We'll
you.
kind of jump from here. So yeah, like Tom said, I'm with our College of Engineering. I work with all prospective students. And so this today is just an opportunity for us to share a little bit about the College of Engineering at Utah State, hopefully answer some of your questions. We had some questions submitted ahead of time, so we'll make sure we get those answered. But there's also a Q&A function in the WebEx. So if you have any questions while we're talking, we'll feel free to ask them and we'll get them answered. And if you have any personal, like specific questions to classes that you might have taken or something specific to your situation, feel free to contact me individually and we can get that sorted out as well. But so I've been with the college for a couple years now, and I work with all of the great students that are studying engineering. It's definitely a challenging program, but it's really rewarding because there's so many great careers that come with an engineering degree, and there's so many opportunities with it as well. So today I've just got a couple slides that I'm going to show you, a couple videos as well, and then we'll go right into questions. But we're going to keep it hopefully around 20-25 minutes, so we won't be taking up all your time. So let me go ahead and share my slides. Pull this right up. So like Tom said, Utah State has a beautiful campus. This is just a little picture of it, but we are blessed up here in northern Utah with beautiful weather. We get snow, but we got Logan Canyon, so there's so much fun skiing and hiking and everything you can imagine, snowboarding and trails and everything. So we definitely take advantage of being right on campus up there right next to the canyon. So I'm going to start, this is just kind of the topics we're going to discuss today. So choosing the right major. We offer 6 different types of engineering at Utah State, as you can see there. We're also going to talk about college resources, scholarships, and how to pay for college, research that you can get involved in, and then students and club involvement, as well as internships. So to get started, this is actually a short little clip that one of my ambassadors, that's a student currently in biological engineering, Nathan, put together for us, just with a little clip about the College of Engineering. Awesome. Okay, so that was a bunch of clips all really closely together, but just to give you an idea of some of the really cool resources and all the fun that we have on campus. So jumping right in. Oh, it doesn't start again. Sorry, it always does that. Jump ahead. All right, so choosing the right major. Engineering is a really broad topic, and there's so many different things that fall within engineering. So it's really all about doing things, building, creating, but what you're creating is the type of engineering that you want to choose. So it's funny because a lot of students I work with, they haven't heard of all the different types of engineering. So even though they might be really interested in drones, they're like, well, where does that fall? And so that's my goal, is to just kind of run through quickly today the different types of engineering we offer, and teach you a little bit more about what's involved or what emphasis you could choose within these majors, to kind of have you get a more specific kind of career path going, to help you find the perfect job for you. So first we're going to talk about is civil and environmental engineering. These are both their own programs, but they tie really closely together because there's a lot of common ground. So these are definitely our students that love being outdoors. With civil engineering, you've probably heard of that. It's your structures and buildings and bridges. They really plan, design, and do all construction of building environment. So anything outside, it's a lot of protecting people and our planet from mismanagement of hazardous waste. That's where the environmental really comes involved. They do a lot with air quality and water quality, testing water and making sure, like big problems in our world, like getting fresh drinking water to every country in the world. They work with projects like that all the time. There's a lot of students that focus on the structural side, like I said, so bridges and buildings and things like that. But we also do a lot with water, geotechnical, and then irrigation. Geotechnical is kind of looking at more like foundations, and like when you're building a road, how do we know how thick to build it, or what material do we put under it? How do we build stuff into the ground so that it's able to expand and contrast with the weather and with the elements, but also are able to maintain for a long time. We also do a lot with transportation, so kind of that city planning aspect, looking, especially in Utah, as we continue to just grow and grow, how do we do that efficiently? How do we avoid roads that bottleneck or common problem areas? How do we know where to put residential areas compared to like city, and really kind of keeping those separate, knowing what works best. What can we do for our environment? What we're building today as engineers is really going to impact our future. And so environmental engineers are really important in the fact that looking at what are we doing today and how can we make sure it makes our world better and not worse. And air and water quality, like I mentioned, and then dealing a lot with hazardous chemicals, waste, public health. So a lot of students that do civil and environmental engineering either end up working for like consulting firms or construction firms. They do a lot with government agencies as well, because you think of all the government buildings that have to be maintained, all the roadways. We do a lot with the Department of Transportation, Department of Agriculture, all sorts of things. And then even in the world of business, a lot of companies hire, especially environmental engineers, to look at what their environmental impact is on what they're built. Even if it's clothing or rockets or anything like that, they hire those environmental engineers to see what they're doing, how they're building it, how their processes or their manufacturing is affecting the environment. So that's our first two. Our third type of engineering that we'll talk about today is biological engineering. I got a lot of questions about if we offer chemical engineering at Utah State, and we do not offer it currently as an official major, but it is really tied closely with our biological engineering. So biological engineering really encompasses anything with of life sciences. So whether it be people, plants, medicines, food, they really touch all those kind of biology and earth sciences, and how technology can combine with it. So like this says here, to create solutions for healthcare, manufacturing, and the environment. So biological is very heavily research based. All of our students from their freshman year on get tied right into research, and you're able to really find what you're most passionate about. So maybe it's finding food and and looking at how we crossbreed different types of food and how we grow our food, making sure we have enough for the future. I have one student that I was talking with that's doing research on how much sugar we put into food and how can we do a better job of finding natural and less preservatives in our food and yet still make it healthy and clean and can last a while. We also do a lot with medical and pharmaceutical side. So looking at different drugs that are being researched right now. We also do a lot with going into med school. So biological engineering is a great pre-med program if that's something that you're interested in. We actually have like a 80% placement rate right into medical school. So it's a really good program to jump right into if you really especially like that technology side of how like creating can go into med school and actually doing then. We also do a lot with biomaterial, biosensors, metabolic and tissue engineering, synthetic biology, biophotonics. So it's really cool. There's a wide variety within biological engineering, and that includes that biomedical side, chemical engineering, really any of those life sciences, like I said. And then our fourth and fifth types of engineering that also tie really closely together are electrical and computer engineering. So this is really that technology side of things, especially with computer engineering. You're looking at more the hardware of a computer. Electrical is really broad in that it can include satellites and UAVs and sensors. We also do a lot with drones and robotics, radio frequencies, antennas. So really anything that has those electrical circuits running through it and understanding how it works and how we can use that technology to improve our current systems and build new ones. Like I said, so computer engineering really goes into the hardware side of things. So designing computers and devices, and then embedded systems, wireless networking, computer architecture, and even things like cybersecurity today. You know, that is such a huge concern in our world is all the information that we're putting online, how do we protect it and how do we protect ourselves? And that's what our electrical and computer engineering students do. And I do have a quick video really to show you. It's on our YouTube channel, so you guys can always check it out. But it's just a little clip sharing the perspective of an electrical engineering student. So let's swap right over that.
Hey Mom, hey Dad. So I have some exciting news. I decided on electrical engineering at Utah State and I want to show you what it's like here. This place is awesome. In lab today, we used lasers to see the world in a new light. Dad, we fly the biggest drones I have ever seen. I had no idea how much electrical engineering goes into making these things fly. Last week, I did something really cool. We went inside a chamber we used for testing radio signals. One of my professors can actually print an antenna on glass. It's amazing. Mom, there's a track here where we test electric cars and buses. And you remember my friend Ethan, right? He's here too. He and his professor are working on cars that charge wirelessly on an electric road. Isn't that crazy? There's a lot of opportunities here. The experiments we work on are really high tech. Some actually fly in space. Classes are good too. They're challenging, but I'm learning a lot and the professors are really nice. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Just wanted to say hi and tell you that I love it here.
Awesome. So I hope that gave you a little bit of a clip of what we do here. So let me check back over to my PowerPoint. Here we go. So yeah, so that's a little bit more about electrical and computer engineering. And then lastly, we have mechanical and aerospace engineering. Now this is probably one of our most popular programs at Utah State just because it's so broad. There's so many things that you can do. So mechanical combines motion, energy, force, and material science. And it really focuses on that designing and building of devices. Really all the things in our world that are mechanical focused. And there's lots of different emphasis that you can do within mechanical engineering. The most common that you've probably heard of is aerospace engineering. We really focus a lot on aerospace because there's a ton of research and resources available for our students and our faculty to really be able to grow in that space. And we also work really closely with a lot of aerospace companies. So like Northrop Grumman and the Aerospace Corporation and Boeing, they all hire from our students that are focused on our aerospace engineering. We do a lot of research with in the picture there, we have wind tunnels, and we do a lot of airplane design and wing design, testing with the US Air Force and all sorts of different companies, which is pretty cool. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity there within aerospace and a lot of really cool things to get involved in, whether it be clubs or research or the classes that you take that are specific to aerospace. There's also fluids and controls, construction engineering, nuclear and renewable energy, which we do a lot of research with as well, especially nuclear energy if that interests you, materials, automotive, and manufacturing. So like I said, especially with all of our programs, they have these different emphasis that we mentioned below, and those really come into play your senior year of your 4-year degree. So the first 3 years, it's a lot of, you start out with a lot of math and science classes, really kind of those fundamentals of being an engineer, classes that you need to, learn and understand to be able to grow. And then you go into some of those general engineering classes, like fluids and controls. We do a lot with programming and with like linear algebra, differential equations, things like that. And then especially mechanical, but all 4 of our programs, your senior year is dedicated to technical elective classes that you can choose from a long list of different courses that are specific to your area. So if you really want to focus on manufacturing, you can do that and take all manufacturing related classes in your senior year and graduate with a mechanical engineering degree with a manufacturing emphasis or an aerospace emphasis, or biological engineering, you could do medical focus. And what that really says is when you're working with employers and looking to find a full-time job, which is everyone's goal, right? It tells you, hey, I have this great degree, but I focused in your area. What your company does is exactly what I learned about. And I'm perfectly, prepared for this job. And so it really helps our students find great jobs out of college. And we're really proud that our students have anywhere from a 95 to 100% job placement out into the workforce. Engineering as a whole just continues to grow. So there's tons of opportunities out there. And that's what makes it such a great degree to go into. There's really a lot of job opportunities, no matter what direction you want to take it. So, different resources that we have available. These are just some of the great things that we have in our engineering buildings that are dedicated to you. So we have a tutor center that is dedicated to our engineering students, and they cover all math, science, and engineering classes. That is a great place to get started, especially if you're someone like me that says, math is not my thing. It's not always my favorite. If you struggle with a class, rather than waiting to the end and being like, I don't get it, get help with our engineering tutor center. It's available in person, and then they also right now, especially with COVID, are doing online tutor options. So it's free to use. You can use it every week, or you can use it once a month, or anything, anywhere in between. But it's an awesome resource available. We also have computer labs that have any software you might need. We have our Idea and Metal Factory, which are just kind of fun, creative places for you to be able to learn and grow and try things. You'll have classes that ask you to build projects, and so you can do that in the Idea and Metal Factory. You also will have a senior design project your last year where you'll look at a project start to finish, generally working with industry, so it'll be almost like an internship-like experience, but a year long, where you'll see a project from design all the way to completion. And then also those places are open for just fun projects of your own. So whether you want to learn how to weld, you can go in there and take a class, or like understand more about circuit design, or how to use a CNC router, or how to, all sorts of kind of things. Or if you want to go in and make some really cool Christmas presents for your family, you can go in and design and cut anything out that you want, which is pretty cool. Other resources we have are our own writing center, our own design lab, and then we have a career services. Sophie is our career service coordinator for the College of Engineering. So she's dedicated to helping you guys find great internships and full-time jobs as well. Now, how to pay for college. This is probably one of the #1 questions that I get because, you know, college is a big expense. And so the first thing that I would tell you is to keep in mind the return on investment. As an engineer, most of our engineers start out in the workforce with $50,000 to $60,000 annual salaries. And that's awesome. And it just continues to grow from there, which is awesome. So there's lots of, it's definitely worth it to get an engineering degree, especially at Utah State where it's very affordable. There are a lot of scholarships to help as well. So the university offers scholarships based on your GPA and ACT, and those are automatic when you apply to Utah State as long as you meet the deadline, which for this coming year, you have to have applied to the university by January 10th. And so as long as you've done that, then you will qualify for those scholarships based on your GPA and ACT. And those are usually 1 or 2 year scholarships, which is awesome. That can help cover anywhere from 40 to 90% of your tuition. And then from there, we offer scholarships mostly to our juniors and seniors in the program. There's over $500,000 in scholarships that we give out every year to our students. And so there's tons of opportunities, and I like it because there's a good variety of different scholarships. So, you know, you might think you don't qualify, but there's ones out there that are for every major, for both men and women. There's ones specific to where you're from, being in state or out of state of Utah. There's even ones that are like for students that have a 2.0 to 3.0 GPA, because they really want to help you focus on getting your grades up. So there's tons of opportunities. You can find that out at engineering.usu.edu/scholarships. And I will say there are a couple freshman scholarships available, but it's only like, I think 3 or 4, and they're oddly specific. And so we actually reach out to students one-on-one once they've applied to the program to let them know if they qualify for any of those. So you'll see an email come to you and something in the mail if you qualify for any of those. And then the other thing I'll note is that working for the college is a great opportunity to help pay for college. You know, there's tons of jobs all over campus or even in Logan that you can find, but finding a job specifically in the engineering college is a great way to continue having relevant experience. So whether that's being a tutor in the tutor center, being a teaching assistant for one of the classes, you can do research and get paid, help with recitations, be an ambassador, where you work with prospective students or go to elementary schools and tell them how cool, you know, math and science and being an engineer is. Our advising office and computer labs are all run by students. And so these are more relevant jobs for you to be able to make money. Most of them start anywhere from $8 to $10 an hour, so they're above minimum wage, but they're on campus right in the buildings where your classes are. So they're super flexible and convenient to work with. And they can help adjust as your schedule changes from semester to semester, but they really give you a good opportunity to get relevant experience and further develop your skills as an engineer. So, all right, great. So one of the last things that we're going to talk about here is research. And Utah State's really unique in this. You know, all universities do research, but we focus on doing research with our undergraduate students. So from your freshman year on, our students are open to either helping on a volunteer basis with research, or, like I said earlier, getting paid as a research assistant. And we have tons of research going on in the College of Engineering in all different disciplines. So for example, we actually have one of only 2 water research labs in the world. I believe the other one's over in Sweden. So we do tons of water research with dams and water quality. We also do a lot with irrigation, which is important in the state of Utah, and the geotechnical side of things. And so they are constantly doing things in our water research lab on campus that you can get involved in. We also, in the electrical engineering video you might have seen, we have our own electric vehicle and roadway track, which is awesome. It's like a big loop just north of campus. And so we work on not only electric vehicles, but also electric buses. So right now they're working on electric buses where the charging pads for the buses are actually in the roadway of the track. And so in theory, as the bus runs, it's charging itself. And so it's in a constant loop of circulation, which is cool. So we do tons of testing with that. They do a lot of testing with batteries, as well as all sorts of different like flight testing and just electric systems in general, which is cool. And then on the biological side, if you're from Utah, you've probably heard of it, but we do a ton with spider silk. It is so cool. Our researchers and professors over the last few years have really developed that we're able to create spider silk, not only using chemical compounds, but also by putting a spider's DNA in a goat. We're able to pull goat or spider silk out of the goat's milk. It is the coolest thing ever. And spider silk is like this magic wonder that no one knew about, because it's super durable. When you bind it together, it's stronger than steel, and it also lasts a long time. It's really antibacterial, nothing sticks to it. So we're doing tons of research with that now of what are all the different things we could do with it. We've got students that are looking at like how to build armor with it because it's nearly bulletproof and yet so lightweight. We work with a company called Autoleave that makes airbags for your cars. And they found that over the years, especially the older a car gets, the stitching in an airbag can start to go out. And so they are finding if they do the stitching with spider silk, because it's a living organism and a mechanism, it's stronger and more durable and lasts longer. So we do all sorts of stuff like that. We've been looking at how to turn algae into a biofuel. We work with nanoparticles, tissue engineering, especially with the focus on eyes and different eye diseases. On the electrical and computer side of things, we do a ton with satellites. I think we at Utah State University have the record of most satellites in space of any university. So we're constantly sending up different satellites, creating different designs. And so especially the small satellite, if you've ever heard of that, they're kind of these little CubeSats. And they're usually like 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches. So like really small, but yet we're able to shoot them up into space and pull tons of information off of them. We do a lot with radio frequencies and with GPS technology and all that kind of thing. And then lastly, we work really closely with the Space Dynamics Lab that's in Logan. So they also do a ton of work with satellites and with NASA on building different types of parts. And they hire tons of our students to do research as well as like internships and things like that. And then there's tons of clubs to get involved in. So, you know, you'll be taking your classes and you're hoping for internships. You might try to get involved with some research. But another great avenue to get involved in is with clubs and student involvement. And this is really important for kind of those soft skills. You know, you're learning your math and science in class, but you also have to learn how to communicate with each other, how to hold leadership positions, how to grow and like really use those critical thinking skills that you're learning in your classes in normal everyday situations. And clubs are a great way for you to get that experience, whether it be through our engineering council, Engineers Without Borders. They go down to Mexico and Peru every year and support communities down there with different projects. We have the Society of Women in Engineering, and then the Society of Hispanic Engineers. There's ones for mechanical, civil. IEEE is for electrical and computer engineering, biological engineering, you can see, and this is just a few examples. So these are really great opportunities for you to get involved. A lot of them do research or they do their own projects. They do fun stuff like the Society of Mechanical Engineers build huge trebuchets every fall and catapult pumpkins across campus. And so it's really just trying to put those skills to good use and also finding other students that you can connect with, whether it's making study groups that way. It's also a great way, you know, even as a freshman, you might get paired up with a senior in a club. And so you can learn from them, you know, what classes did you like? What are you doing with your degree? What companies are you working for? Those kinds of questions to help you figure out exactly the type of engineering you want to do or what you don't want to do. So that's definitely a great way to get involved. There's a full list on engineering.usu.edu of all the clubs. And the best way to get involved in clubs is at the beginning of the year, we do like a club fest. Just within the first couple weeks of the fall semester. And so there's a great way, all the clubs come out and they talk about what they're working on, and then they have ways for you to get involved. So All right, you're probably tired of hearing me talk. So this is my last slide. I just wanted to touch base on internships because that's also a huge piece of a great way to find out what you want to do, what type of engineering you like, and also finding a full-time job, which is everyone's goal. So we really encourage students to find internships. The best way to do that is by going to our STEM-focused career fairs throughout the year in all your years to talk to companies. There's a lot of companies, especially the ones here listed on the screen, that recruit directly from Utah State University and look for our engineers because they know you're getting a great education, that you've got a lot of experience, and that you'd be prepared to start working right away for their companies. So this is not an exhaustive list. There's even more companies listed on our website, and you also can look on our career services website as well to get an idea of what companies are out there, what ones hire engineers straight out of college, and what different things you can do with them. So, all right. So this last slide's just got my contact information. If you don't see it, or if you don't have time to write it down, you'll also find me on our website, just like I said, engineering.usu.edu. But we'll go from here and we'll just jump into some questions real quick. There we go. All right. Okay, so the first question I see here is electrical and computer engineering the same degree, or do you have to choose between one or the other? So you do have to choose between one or the other. They both have different emphasis, and there's a lot of overlap though. So within the first 2 years, roughly, it's the same classes. So you'll have time to kind of look and understand, but then from there you can decide whether you want to focus solely on like computer architecture and go in more into those embedded systems, that kind of thing, or if maybe you want to focus on robotics or drones or satellites, something like that, then you would stick with electrical engineering. And it's fine if you don't know right away. You can change your major at any time, and there's no like penalty other than making sure that you're not missing any classes. So I hope that helps answer that question. My second question I have on here is, what are your options when it comes to fraternities? So fraternities and sororities are a great opportunity. We don't do a lot with them very closely in engineering, but I know a lot of our engineering students are in fraternities and sororities. So I'm not too familiar with the different options or like which ones are best. So I would definitely talk to our admissions office, and you can get in contact with our like Greek life coordinators if you want to learn more about that. Let me pull up more questions that we got ahead of time. Another question we got was, can I still take the ACT this summer? And so that answer is yes. There's actually, I believe, one more that you can take this summer in July, and I believe the deadline for that to register is tomorrow. So make sure if you still need to take the ACT or you want to take it one more time, that you get signed up for that. And I do know that there's some changes with COVID and everything on what they're doing. So you'll just have to check online to see what locations are available and if there's one near to you. All right. And then another question was, can I still attend engineering camp next June, even though I will have graduated from high school? So for those of you that were planning on going to Engineering State, we are so sorry that we had to cancel. I mean, the whole world is just kind of crazy right now, right? And so for everyone's protection, especially summer camp where we were all going to be close and bunking together and in different seminars and challenge sessions all summer long, that it would have been too hard to keep everyone separated. So I'm really sorry about that. We are still looking at what we can do next summer. They are planning on it being only for juniors going into their senior year. So you may not be able to attend Engineering State, but we're hoping to make something like Engineering State for you that weren't able to make it this year. And let me grab a drink of water real quick. All right. Another question we got on here is, what major would automating vehicles be in? That's a great question. So it kind of depends on what part of automating vehicles you like. If it's understanding how to build a vehicle, like more the automotive side of things, that falls under more mechanical engineering. If you're wanting more on how do the electric currents, how do we do with electric vehicles, or understanding like the systems that go into a vehicle, that would be electrical engineering. So, and our next question is, what is the required ACT or SAT score for acceptance into the College of Engineering? So the university's minimum requirement is a 19 on the ACT. And then from there, it just, each college or each different type of engineering has a different minimum requirement. So what we offer is a program, if your ACT score is not high enough to get right into the type of engineering of your choice, we actually offer a preparatory engineering that still allows you to take calculus and the math or science classes that you need to take to then jump up into the engineering of your choice. So you can learn more about that on our website. It's called Preparatory Engineering, and that also will have all the minimum ACT and GPA requirements for each type of engineering since it differs. All right. I got another question about what is the plan to restart this fall, in person or online? That's another great question. It's hard because it's ever changing. You know, I think everyone started feeling more comfortable, and then in the Cache Valley area, we saw a spike in COVID cases. And so we really want to make sure we do what's best to protect our students, faculty, and everyone on campus. I'll reserve turning like what our end results will end up being over to our president, Cockett, because it's ever changing. So I believe as of right now, the plan is to do some in-person classes as well as some online. But that continues to change. So I would check just our usu.edu. They have a COVID update that will keep you guys most informed. Our hope is to do in-person classes because as an engineer, it's really hard to learn solely online. There's so much to do in person. There's labs in a lot of your classes, and especially the more junior and senior level engineering classes are all hands-on. And so we want to be able to do as much of that in person as possible. Is the ACT required to get into Utah State University? You can choose, depending on your area or what your school does, you can do ACT or SAT. There are some options as well for homeschooling or other like situations. So they're very accommodating, but some sort of standardized test is required. And so including SAT scores, those are acceptable as well. And you can find those scores on our website. All right, I think we have just a couple more questions. Let me see. One, and I kind of addressed this a little bit earlier, is do we offer chemical engineering? We don't offer it specifically as a major, but it falls under our biological engineering. So they take the same kind of classes. And what we generally offer is if you do a minor in chemistry with biological engineering, that is the equivalent of a chemical engineering degree. And we do have a lot of chemical and like chemistry related companies that hire from Utah State as well. So they hire biological engineers to go into those chemistry or chemical engineering roles. Definitely. Ooh, lots of talking on me. All right. I think we just have one or two more. So this one says, I will be a senior in high school this fall. I've already taken an engineering class and will be taking physics and a college math class my senior year. What else can I do to prepare to be an engineer? That's a great question. The biggest thing that I would encourage you, first of all, you're right on track. We really encourage students to focus on math in high school. We want you to be ready to take Calculus 1 your freshman year of college if you haven't already taken it in high school. If you've taken it, great. And that's what we really encourage, because honestly, math is what students struggle with the most in engineering. Everything outside of that is a bonus. If you can take any of your gen ed classes that you want, that you could either AP or concurrent, that can transfer, those can help lighten your load a little bit. You can look and see if there's any classes that you can take to cover, maybe more of your math or science classes. But in addition to that, there's a lot of companies out there that do high school internships. And so I don't have like a list of them or anything, but I would definitely check out if you want to do civil engineering, maybe talk to some civil consulting firms and let them, let them see if they'll let you like shadow them for a week, or even just interview them to learn more about what they do or why they chose civil engineering, so that you can really help get a good idea from the start exactly what type of engineering you're interested in. Let's see. This question says there's different types of engineering that they're looking into. What are general math classes that you'd have to take? So all of our engineering students are required to take Calculus 1, 2, and 3. Or Calculus 3 we call multivariable calculus. And then we also, depending on the type of engineering you go into, you'll have to take either linear algebra and differential equations together or separately. Some require a statistics or a probability class. And so that's the extent of your math classes. Do you guys accept IBCP? I'm not familiar with what that stands for. If whoever asked that question, if you want to put in what that is. Otherwise, you can reach out to me directly and we can talk about it. Oh, International Baccalaureate. We work with a lot of international programs and things like that. I'm not for sure on that one specifically, but I can look into it for you if you want me to. And then how many classes outside of the classes we choose to take in our field are we required to take? So a degree at Utah State is 120 credits. So that's around 40 classes. With our engineering program, most of them are around 130 credits. So it's a full program, and we're really specific. Unlike other degrees where it's like you just need to take so many classes, our degrees are pretty specific. You have to take the certain math and physics or calculus, chemistry, and then specific engineering classes to be able to graduate in the engineering program. So we have 4-year degree plans on our website. You can see that engineering.usu.edu, and then it's under Explore Degrees. You can pull up the 4-year plan, and that lists out every single class that you're required to take. In that includes, there's 6 general education classes that are required, and they're in different areas. So one has to be a history class, one a creative arts, one a social sciences, that kind of thing. Those are ones that if you've taken any AP or concurrent enrollment can help cover. Otherwise, they're fun ones to take in addition to your engineering degree. But otherwise, that's all the classes that you have to take. There's tons of like outdoor classes and some fun classes here and there. If you want to add a language or a minor, there's tons of different minors out there that you can take in computer science, or we have one in drones specifically. We've got ones in, we offer minors in mechanical and electrical engineering. So those are great options as well. But that's kind of the outline of your classes. And then I believe my last question here is, what about the programming side of making vehicles driverless? That falls under our electrical engineering. We have a lot of research going on, and then there's classes as well that you can take to really look at the autonomous vehicles and the electrical side of things. So I would definitely pursue electrical engineering if that's something you're interested in. And you can get involved in that research right away. So awesome. Well, just for sake of time as well, we'll go ahead and call this a day. I have been recording this, so we're going to post this up on our website. If you have any questions or you want to rewatch it, you want to share it with someone else that you know. And then lastly, I just want to let you guys know that I am here for you guys. As I know that it's kind of a weird time in our world and everyone's staying at home, even me. But if you have questions or you have concerns about classes or engineering in general, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm available via phone, email, WebEx. We can do whatever is most convenient to you. So my information was in the email that you probably received, as well as on our website. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for attending today. I hope it was helpful, hopefully not too long, too much to chat about. There's so much to go over, and I probably forgot something. So, but we really appreciate that you're interested in engineering at Utah State. I think it's an awesome program. Obviously, I could chat about it forever. But otherwise, we hope you guys have a great summer. Stay safe. And hopefully we'll see you at one of our events in the fall. Thanks.